Ever wonder how Makey Makey was created? We're celebrating our bananiversary by interviewing Jay Silver and Eric Rosenbaum to learn more about them and the process of invention. And weren't you doing singing fingers? Like, wasn't that the app version? Was it happening during the same time, or was that later?
It was
Yeah, it was
around the same
right before
time.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
Around
I
the
feel
same
like that
time,
was
'cause
all.
well, so Makey Makey prototype, which we had this weird name called Project Q, but it was like before it became Makey Makey, there were a bunch of stuff. There was like a hot pot of things like singing fingers and well, I feel like there was a bunch of stuff besides just that, but like was one of them. We
And
also had
Glow
a bunch of
Doodle.
stuff that never saw the light of
Glow
day.
doodle.
And since we knew computation was so powerful, we were doing this computer crafting project. It was called computer crafting. And that was like just different ways of taking a whole computer, which I guess maybe think of a laptop or something, and sticking it inside of a chair or inside of your shirt or somewhere. Because it's like, hey, what we need are some LEDs. No, what we need is like 1,000 pixels wide screen at our full control that's interactive at any time. That's called a computer. So instead of making something custom, just grab a laptop, fold it up, stick it in different places behind a curtain, whatever. So we are just messing with probably another dozen projects beyond that in the 2 years leading up to Makey Makey. And Makey Makey would go on hiatus on the shelf for a little while, and it would come back, and it would go away, and it would come back. Then, like, Eric ran some workshops at Exploratorium, and it was in the background. And then it would have these highlights where it would pop up again. Maybe now is its time. Maybe now is its time.
I think there was a crucial moment when I went and did a short residency at the Exploratorium, the Science Museum in San Francisco, with the Tinkering Studio, who we'd collaborated with for many years. And during that time, um, hand built a bunch of these little devices that we called Project Q at the time, but were basically a very early, like the first thing that was Makey Makey like, because it pretended it was a keyboard and mouse, and you could plug wires into it and
Yeah.
then complete the circuit, and it would detect that. And it
It was a
just
Makey
barely
Makey.
worked.
It just had code running, and did it push up, down, left, right, or did it push ASDFGH or what? But
Um, I know it had the home row letters. It had arrow keys as well.
okay, cool.
One of the projects was drum pants. So one of the people in the workshop taped some aluminum foil to his legs and then held an alligator clip in his mouth and then was tapping the foil to play drum sounds on GarageBand on the computer. Um, and actually, that was the first Dance Dance Revolution gamepad that we had. It was in that very first workshop. Also, it was foam pads on the floor, and you would step on them with your feet to squash two things together to close a circuit, and then play a game like Dance Dance Revolution just by pressing the arrow keys with your feet that way.
Cool.
Yeah, and we're both. I'll replace the word terrible with non-standard in the following sentence. We're both non-standard business persons, um,
Fair.
and but I had it on my mind a bit more. And I remember being in California, and we were like driving to the Creativity and Cognition conference. Eric had flown in. I was interning for the summer at Intel, and there was a moment in time where we were talking, and like the discussion was like, "Hey, I think Kickstarter is ready for something like." We didn't have the word "makey makey" yet, but we were referring to it, and it wasn't an immediate yes, let's do it, but there was this dawning of this, like there's this rising moment in that car ride from Santa Cruz to Berkeley.